By the time I'd left the Ark to head home for the summer, I had garnered quite the reputation. I'd be embarrassed if my mother found out that everyone on campus thought I was this huge playboy. That had all started with Tiffany Clemens. I had asked her out, and much to the surprise of many, she'd said yes. We had dated off and on for a couple weeks at the beginning of spring, but as the weight started pouring off and my toned muscles beneath began to pop out, things changed. To be honest, I wasn't sure if that was a blessing or a curse. It just was what it was. I hadn't been prepared for the overwhelming popularity that came my way. Turned out Tiffany had told everyone I was just as amazing in bed as I looked without a shirt on. Someone had captured a picture of me by the lake in May without my shirt. My winter fluff was entirely gone, and the photo circulated quickly throughout the campus. That had launched me into the most popular guy on campus. It was insane. There were a lot of species of shifters at the Ark, many of which were quite aggressive. I'd been careful to navigate the waters and rarely dated, though I hung out with many ladies on a regular basis. Tiffany wasn't the only one to start a rumor about me. Soon, others had too. It was like the more I rejected them, the more they wanted it to appear I hadn't, so they told their friends that I was a fantastic one-night stand. Some of the rumors spreading of what I'd done were likely making my poor grandmother roll over in her grave. But they were all lies. My fraternity brothers were proud of me and egged on the gossip. I was pretty sure most thought it was all true anyway. They'd be pretty shocked to find out that I was still a virgin. As the new semester began, the tales only increased. They had grown to ridiculous proportions before they finally began to taper off some. I began gaining my winter weight, and a few backed off their campaigns to find out just how real the rumors really were. But far more than that were still holding out hope that I'd pick them next. Sometimes I wished they'd all just leave me alone. I had made my way to the large lake that the campus partially wrapped around. I stopped and picked up a rock and skipped it across the water. "Something bothering you, Chad?" I startled and turned to see my brother, Brett. He was also president of our fraternity. "Oh, hey, Brett. Everything's fine. Just needed to get out of the house for a while." "You're starting to sound like Damon. Maybe that room is just cursed," he joked. "Nah, I'm fine. I miss him, but it's all good. Just a little too quiet today." "Why aren't you out on a date or something?" I rolled my eyes at him. Brett was one of the few people who knew the truth, but that didn't mean he missed any opportunity to tease me about it. For a while, I had been dating basically a different girl every night. It was fun at first, but the excitement wore off quickly. The problem was, squirrels were dedicated creatures. I wanted a mate. Just one. Certainly not a new one every night. Those girls never even took the time to get to know me. They just wanted the notoriety of having dated me, and even when disappointed that I wouldn't sleep with them at the end of the night, each one swore to their friends it had happened. I didn't even understand it. I was going to end up in a sexual harassment case if this continued. I didn't want to admit it, even to Brett. But I hadn't even kissed a girl since Tiffany. She'd been different at first, but she thought it would be funny to spread the rumors of how phenomenal I was in bed, even though she did know the truth. She knew she'd taken things too far, and it had largely cost us our friendship. I was a squirrel who had been raised by loving parents. My mother had ingrained it into me that my mate was worth the wait and that I should keep myself for her and her alone. I knew that wasn't the norm, especially in college, but I believed her, and I was willing to wait. I'd seen how much happier and more settled Chase and Damon were after meeting their mates. I envied them. I wanted that for myself. I was only a sophomore. I wasn't ready to fall in love and live happily ever after, but I sure did love the idea that it would be in my future. Maybe that was cheesy, but I didn't care. Mom had raised me on cheesy chick flicks. What could I say? I was a mama's boy through and through. I loved the time we'd spent watching all of her faves. I'd never admit that to the guys. They'd never let me live it down. Brett nudged me, pulling me away from my thoughts. "How about we go grab a beer over at Jack's?" I rolled my eyes at him. "You do realize I'm still underage, right?" "Psh, since when has that ever stopped you?" I laughed because I knew he was right.